Now, the Trump camp has released a controversial ad aimed at Hillary Clinton. Earlier in the campaign, Clinton made a funny reference to an old political ad from her days in Arkansas. The ad was against the Republicans. It involved a barking dog. And at one point, Clinton mimicked the dog by barking during a campaign event. Now, the Trump campaign has taken that as fodder for their attack ad. It suggests that Clinton is not strong enough to take on ISIS and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, for more on the U.S. political front, we're joined by Steffen Schmidt, also known as Dr. Politics. He is a political science professor at Iowa State University and joins us from Ames. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Scott.
What did you think of the results yesterday? I mean, it seems pretty convincing now that Donald Trump seems to be well on his way.
Well, he is on his way, and the Republican establishment is frantically, of course, trying to find a way to put a dam up. They spent $35 million or so in attack ads, and it seems to have driven up Trump's numbers. So he will continue on, and he is the big elephant in the room for the Republicans. But he isn't there yet. You know, he needs 1,237 delegates, and you know, he will have to do very well in coming contests in order to get that amount, and a lot of people wonder if he can do that.
Donald Trump loves to win, but he's showing some vulnerability, especially in Ohio.
Well, Ohio is a special state. They have a governor who has a 70% approval rating, I believe, who is a very charismatic person and is a typical establishment Republican. And I think people in Ohio simply rallied around him. He was the favorite son. It's very difficult to beat a favorite son unless you happen to be Marco Rubio in Florida.
Now, what do you think happens with Marco Rubio? He dropped out of the race. Now his support is going to be up for grabs. Where do you think his endorsement goes?
Well, he's going to play it, I think, very coy. He doesn't have to endorse anyone. The delegate question is very complicated. You have to understand that the United States, as a federal system, which we know about, the parties, the Republican Party in each state sets the rules of what happens to delegates if a candidate decides to suspend his campaign. If Rubio had actually finished his campaign and basically pulled out, those delegates would be released, but he has decided to just suspend it, which means that many of them still basically have to vote for him if it goes to the National Convention. So it's a very, very complicated process. And I think he's playing his cards close to his chest in terms of who he might endorse.
Back to the Trump campaign now. They had that ad that came out slamming Hillary Clinton. What do you make of that? What effect do you think that might have on the race?
Oh, you know what? Americans love political ads, and many of them are snarky and are strange. And, you know, barking dogs and Hillary Clinton making barking dog sounds for a lot of people is more amusing than threatening. So I think we're going to see a lot of that, by the way, Scott, between Donald Trump, if he becomes the nominee of the Republicans, and Hillary Clinton, if she becomes the Democrat, which it looks like she may. They are going to have a very, very intense and sometimes incomprehensible campaign against each other, and it'll be disturbing but also somewhat amusing to watch.
Steffen Schmidt, political science professor at Iowa State University. Thank you very much, as always.
Thanks, Scott.